Thanks for joining us. And this is part of our Leading in Crisis sessions that we organize about twice a week. Today, we are obviously very privileged to have today my friend and also our friend in Owner Circle, Chris Tan. Chris has been a practicing lawyer for the last 20 years. And he's the founder of Chur Associates. I'm sure many of us have heard from Chris Tan before. He's a very famous public figure, right? He consults in various areas, primarily in real estate, taxation, investments, entrepreneurship even, restructuring. And some of you may not know this, but Chris is also a music author, right? So that's probably one of the things that we have in common. We have music in our blood, right? So today we have, today Chris has been very, very gracious to offer us free legal advice to Owner Circle members and our community of entrepreneurs here, right? So we'll be taking questions along the way. So if any one of you guys want to ask any questions to Chris, just type it in the chat window and we will help to see whether we can answer them in this next 45 to 50 minutes, right?
Sure.
Hey, Chris, thanks again for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Raymond. Yes, music is in my blood and my hair is growing longer. So I think rock and roll is back, yes.
But your hair is quite tame now, right? Compared to the few times in the past. Now it's very seaman, no?
Very seaman. That's because there's no chance to go and see my hairstylist. Anyway, now I look better, right? Just want to
yeah, that's the first world problem we all are having. We didn't figure out that, we can't cut our hair. Wow, that's bad, man.
No problem. We should go back to the time where it was long or hair. I've decided maybe I should keep my entire year 2020 not to see a barber and see how long it can grow.
Wow, brave. Okay.
Yes,
I guess so. Today is just about Q&A, right, Chris? I think we said that we'll keep this a bit informal and really, thanks for your free legal advice to the community here. So let's start probably with a couple of questions that I have here that came from them. So the first one, I guess everybody is looking at this in terms of salary cuts, right? We all know that the government says don't cut salary and things like that, but some of them have tried for the last 1 month. They could not get consent, right? So they could not get consent from the employees. So what should they do now, right?
No, I think put it very simple here. Whether the government give you the instruction or not, let's put it this way. In the context of employment law, in the context of an employment, you are governed by the letter of employment. So there's two ways you can be employed by a company. One is called full employment, where there's contribution to KWSP, EPF, and also SOCSO and everything else, those that entitle you to now even claim for this subsidy UPA, for example, because it's got to do with KWSP, it's got to do with SOCSO and everything else that you have registered with. So that's one part. And the other part is, of course, you can be on contract for service, which means that I engage you, Raymond, you are supposed to serve me for 2 years, supposed to help me to do this, I'm going to pay you this, and you are not in full employment with me. So which means that theoretically speaking, you are not my employee, you're just my contractor. Right, so we have to understand sometimes, although you might sound like you are working there or whatever, but you are in effect a contractor. So you have to differentiate legally. There's the difference between an employment and a contract for service, which means that you are just no different from the supplier. You are just a service provider. Okay, and sometimes even it could be a situation that you are a freelancer. You could be on a daily wages. You could be a talent or even a laborer provided by another company to this. So what happens is that you contract a company and the company will provide you with the talent. So it depends on how you structure it. There's no one rules that fit all. For example, foreign worker in manufacturing and whatnot. So a lot of time that you're dealing with an agency, and they're hired through another company and they're just provided them to be there and whatever. So I'm saying to you is every case is different. So I'm saying to you is that when the government, actually, you have to understand where the government is coming from. First of all, we have a very new government, right? And again, they didn't ask for my consensus whether they should be my government and they become my government, right? So I'm saying to you is that I think that is important to bear in mind in everyone's mind. So I also don't know. While they're talking about stimulus package and everything, while they're doing this, my question to you is that, is it valid, not valid? They still remain a legal question because I have a big issue whereby on the 18th of May, I don't know who else is my government, and whether this will be approved or not, that will be an interesting thing. We have 260 million there, the original 250 plus the extra 10, correct? So I'm saying to you is that the negotiation with employee. So now let's talk about your full-time employee. I don't want to talk about your contract or service, your daily wages, your outsourcing and whatever. Those things is contractual. So basically, if you ask me if your contract say you can, you cannot, lah. Simple lah, right? But then even if it's that case, let me say one thing is that you still have to go to the court at the end of the day. So what I'm trying to highlight is that although you can interpret in one day, you can take a stand, it doesn't mean that the other party must agree with you, all right? And therefore, they can take their case further if they want to. But then I also want to remind everyone, court after this is not going to be very free, all right? I can tell you what happened. For example, at this moment, court is closed until 28th of April. Court is closed, only a certain online transaction you can do. And but other than that, if you have hearing, you have case management, whatever that you need there to be physical present, it's not happening. So what happened is that the original cases in April and end of March is now being delayed to June and July. Now, can you imagine what happened to the original case fix for June and July? So you will have a trickling effect and all these things. Trust me, as much as everyone think that they have the right and they want to complain and whatnot, it also takes resources and time, whether they have the patience to deal with it or not. So my question to you is, my answer first and foremost is regulate by your terms of contract. That's for sure. Your letter of employment will also say this thing, and very likely that none of your letter of contract actually prepared for this situation. Okay. Like in China, for example, they have these things happen. I need to tell you about other countries simply because we don't have any benchmark here. In China, what happened is that normally the government have actually over there have issued about 8,000 over certificate for force majeure. So what happened in the force majeure means that there's an intervening event that stopped the performance of the contract, which including employment contract, right? So what happened is that there's 8,000. So what happened is that if you give a cert out from the Chinese government to say it's force majeure to that contract, so it means that the contract is suspended, including employment contract. But Malaysia don't have such a cert. So that's what I want to tell you. So number two, then we can look at our neighboring country, which is Singapore, right? Singapore also have a COVID-19 special bill or special act that they have passed. Again, using these, they are regulating what are the things that's currently being suspended, which include employment. And again, we don't have. All right, and again, we don't have. And just from the announcement from the government, because I'm trying to take this to take a little bit time here, rather than give you a straight answer, to put it on context so that our participant here or your members can listen to this, also understand for themselves. You realize initially when our Prime Minister Muhyiddin was making the first announcement earlier on before the MCO, he was saying that, if you're on unpaid leave, then the government will give you $600 per month. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Correct.
The first one,
The first one. They said that if you are on unpaid leave, right, and the government will actually pay you $600 per month, and maximum, I think 3 months or 6 months, I don't know, whatever that is. But I'm just saying to you is that in that context, which means that the government acknowledging that there are people that can be going on unpaid leave. And in fact, for some of the bigger country, the bigger company, the MNC, bigger factory, there really are people, I know it, there are people who are on unpaid leave at that time already without even the MCO. Then later, under the MCO, the stimulus package come in, the subsidy UPA come in and say 4,000 and below, whatever that is, the first round, second round, remember? And then they said that we will give you 1,002, or depends on how many people you have, maximum how many you can claim, and blah, 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 right? For example, it's happening, I got my approval today, all right? I got 11 of my staff, in fact, 12 of my staff below 4,000, and all of them, I managed to get a subsidy. But again, I didn't get the money, I got approval, right? So I'm very highlighting a very important thing is that if you apply for it, yes, you will get it too. But I'm just saying to you is that the implication is this. They say, hey, you want to take the subsidy UPA, they're now telling you that you cannot cut their salary. You have to keep them for 6 months. Right? And you cannot even ask them to go on paid leave, unpaid leave, and blah, blah, blah. Those are the conditions. Correct. Now, my question to the employer is very simple. Okay, first of all, how are they going to execute this? Right? They can only execute this only in the event of a complaint. Let's put it this way: if nobody complain in your staff rank, and then nobody will find out, right? Correct. So if there is a complaint, then obviously you have to manage the situation. Then if you have claimed for the subsidy upah, then you cannot do those things, right? So then it equally come up with a very logical question that in every month, if I'm employer, does it mean that if I'm 4,000 and above, I can do differently? Okay.
What you mean? Yeah.
You understand? First of all, we have a presumption that there are people who are on unpaid leave. That's from the government announcement straight away. We know that there's something, right? Then later they said, if 4,000 above, we're going to ask you to do subsidy, upah, whatever that is. I'm going to help you, but you have to fulfill me this condition. Correct? Now, then automatically it means that there is another category above 4,000.
Yes.
Correct. So if it's above 4,000, yes, you don't give me any subsidy. Does it mean that I can self-help now? Does it mean that what I can do now? Of course, as a lawyer, I will advise you that, you have to look at, again, your letter of employment, right? And the Employment Act and everything else. I see there's a question between what's the difference between labor law and those people earning more than 2005 or whatever that kind of thing. So I'm saying to you, the difference is jurisdiction. Where can they complain? One, they complain to the Labor Department. One, they complain to the IR Department, Industrial Relationship. So anything that above certain quantum is industrial relationship. So it's the difference between labor court and the difference between industrial relation court. So to me, it's just jurisdiction. Don't worry about it. If they want to complain, they can always complain. Okay. So I'm saying to you that this is a very difficult situation. I encourage you to communicate with your employee. Yes, if the employee say no already, what can you do? Really, there's nothing you can do, right? The answer to this is, even I advise you whatever that is, you still have to take it at your own risk. Because I'm highlighting to you is that communication have never been so important right now.
Yeah.
Then I can tell you without this whole thing, probably I'm not that close to you right now. I'm very close to you simply because social distancing make everyone else close, right? We love to communicate now. So lucky or not, you have to really be very honest and talk to your employee, right? As to how to deal with it. Those people who are more than 4,000 are likely to be at the management level and likely to be the senior management who know a little bit about the company's condition. Those below 4,000, maybe they cannot know, therefore, and they have under the protection of the government. All right. So my saying to you is that then it depends on communication with your management level people, and you have to find a way about it. I mean, a lot of people say that, what if they say they agree to do a 20% pay cut or whatever that is, and go on and pay leave, whatever that is, and then they agreed, all right? They put it in writing, everything, and then later they still complain to the IR and still file a suit against you. Can they do it? The answer is yes. Right?
But isn't the letter, the consent letter, enough already to protect the employer?
No, I wouldn't use the word enough. I will use that you have some protection. Okay. I wouldn't say that it is foolproof, right? And have condom or having sex, but there's no guarantee, there's no pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put it very blunt to everyone just to say that just because you have a letter, it doesn't mean that it is foolproof. Right? You can still die if you even have a bulletproof vest because you could be, hitting a spot that is out of your vest. Correct? Yeah. So I'm saying to you is that as far as I'm concerned, it's a good evidence. Keep it. Nonetheless, I want you to take it, right? Whatever evidence is hope that they're consent and everything. It could be a voluntary thing. I mean, it depends how you present it. Because if you force upon them, then it's saying that I have duress, I have no choice. You force upon me, correct? But if you say it's voluntary, then against a voluntary kind of effort could be more helpful than a forced situation. So I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, it's about what you need to do. Of course, there is no room at this moment under the Employment Act, whatever, to say this. You can argue about force majeure also, right?
Yeah.
But I can say to you, if you argue about this, then the beeline to the Labor Department, the beeline to the industrial relation, it's going to be longer and longer, right? And of course, being an entrepreneur, we have to understand one thing. We are here to take risks. The fact that you are the owner, you're the boss, is because you take risks. The fact that they are employee is because they don't want to take risks. They want their every 4 weeks, they get their wages. You take whatever, you earn how much also, I want nothing from you. So you have to understand this part. A lot of people say it's not fair for the bosses and everything. Now let me turn it around and ask you to the same that you choose to be the bosses, you take risks. So when you take risks, what does it mean is that whatever that that I'm advising you at the moment, whatever I've just analyzed for you at the moment, I'm saying to you at the end of the day, is still you taking the risk. Okay, why? Because you are an entrepreneur, you must know who's your team. Right? I can only tell you that, if you feel that your management cannot appreciate you right now, and never understand you and say no straight away to your proposal for salary deduction and whatnot, I can only say it's all your own doing. I don't know how you behaved last time, right? You didn't seek enough goodwill in the past, probably, right? And when this time come and they are not even very considerate about you, right? About the whole company moving forward, right? They don't care about a company dying, because as long as I get my 3 months, you can close shop lah. In 3 months time, doesn't matter. But at least 3 months, I must get my money, right? So it got to do with a greater scale of thing. It got to do with communication. It got to do about your company culture and how you deal with them in the past. It is not now.
Yeah.
It is not now. So if you've always been very calculative and always this and that, very strict about this and whatnot, and never listen to them, you treat them as your slave, you know, the position is like that. So end up the slave will just say, oh my, I don't care, we are slave.
Yeah.
So you have no work for me, it's your problem, but still have to feed us, right?
Yeah. Right. Thanks, man, Chris. Okay, so the next question we have here is with regards to what you said earlier about force majeure, right? So obviously now that the one thing in the contract which nobody ever pay attention to in the whole history of them doing contracts suddenly now becomes a question,
Sure.
right? So what then can we use the force majeure for, right? You mentioned about contract termination and things like that for Malaysia, but it's not really that clear, right? For Malaysia.
I'm saying to you, it's very simple. A lot of people ask me, is this a force majeure situation? I say, even force majeure clause, can I say something to you? If you really pay attention to it, there's a very different version. It's not that all the force majeure clause look the same.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I must point out that point, right? So it depends what it is said there, and it's more important to read it in the content in relative to the context. I think it's important to read it that way. But I'm saying to you is to me, it's unlikely you can argue that, right? Unlikely you can argue that, right? Especially in the employment contract. But in the supply context and everything else, maybe. All right. Like for example, I'm in a manufacturing contract. I'm supposed to deliver to you on 1st April. And obviously I can't because of these things, right? Correct? So my question to you is that, does it mean that can I invoke force majeure? In that thing is more likely that you can. Right? Because it's not anyone who can attribute to it. For example, you need to close a S&P. Remember your S&P, you buy a subsale property, you need to do a 3+1, for example, 3 months plus 1 month, whatever that kind of do, and you need to count him and pay for your salary. So my answer to you is very simple. If let's say I give you, this is your 3rd month, you're supposed to pay this month, otherwise there's interest, correct? But because of MCO, there's no stamp office, there's no land office to do the transfer. As a result, the bank cannot release the money. So, whose fault? Okay, so again, I think common sense must prevail. Communication is important at this moment, and common sense must prevail. You understand? At the end of the day, nobody wants this situation, right? Nobody is ever prepared for this. If anyone say that I have a clause to cover me on this, I think it's very unlikely, right? Yeah. So I don't think this is the case. So I'm saying to you is that it's again negotiation. Again, how are you going to talk to them? Legal is good as a basis, but that's not the be all and all. Like I said, even in a contract situation, let me give a scenario, for example, right? So let's say you are I'm a supplier, I'm a manufacturer, I'm supposed to deliver you on 1st April. All right, you are the guy who buy from me. Yep. Now, on the 1st of April, I deliver nothing to you. Under the agreement, there's a clause to say if I'm delayed by 1 day, how much I should pay you. Yes, right? And as a result, you might suffer losses. As a result, you suffer losses. I might need to compensate you back as well, Raymond. So the question to you is that I said no, it's force majeure. Raymond, obviously your answer is no, there's no force majeure.
Yeah.
Understand? Yeah. Correct? Yeah. So very simple. So what do we do? So when we cannot agree, because very simple, we can talk about force majeure. Unlike China, they have a cert. Unlike Singapore, there's an act to regulate.
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah.
There isn't, and which means that we still have to end up in court, right? So what? Meanwhile, did I supply you anything? No. Would I supply you on 1st of May? Don't know. You understand that? Correct? And would you survive if I needn't supply those things to you? Don't know. Correct? And my court date with you could be in September, October, even next year.
Yeah.
So who can wait? You or me? I don't know. It depends. You know what? Because it could be that you need my staff so that you can get revenue as well.
Mm.
And if I don't give you my staff, you cannot even get your revenue. Same, you are delaying another contract. The other contract, you also want to invoke force majeure.
Mm.
Because my supplier is giving me force majeure. I have to tell you it's force majeure. You understand? But I'm just saying at this moment, all these things is useful as a negotiation tool.
Mm.
All right. But at the end of the day, we have to make sense out of this because we are here as business people. We take risks, we understand that bit, and we must understand very clearly that this is an unusual situation. There's no precedent.
Mm.
There's no precedent. Right? Okay.
Right. Thanks, Chris. Okay, let's look at some of the other questions. Right. So a question here is, how do I draft a proper agreement to manage staff expectation in terms of their pay cut if I'm prolonging it for a few months? Any advice there?
How do I what? Sorry?
How do I draft or put into anything in the agreement to manage staff expectation in terms of pay cut if I'm prolonging it for a few months?
I think you have to be very honest in your assessment what you want to put there, and be careful about wording like this. Don't use wording like at the end of MCO.
Mm.
You know why? I can tell you, I just shared in another forum just now. I said end of MCO is very, very unclear. You know why? It could be by 29, supposedly that's the first day after MCO, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. But the first day after MCO is actually what you call a LMCO. What does it mean? Limited Movement Control Order. So what happened is that, yeah, it's not entirely like right now, but it's limited. Correct? A wise thing to do to tell you, though, it should be sector by sector, state by state, returning back to normal. It cannot be straight away tomorrow party. 29 is not a party day. Correct? So I want to understand everyone is that the moment you use the word like at the end of the MCO, the problem is that whether a limited MCO is still an MCO.
Mm.
So I will encourage you to use date. And by the way, it's never carved on stone. Right? I can tell you one thing, by the 28th, because of the extension, you need to negotiate again.
Mm.
So
make it a continuous process.
Correct. No, I'm just saying it's the continuous engagement. I mean, you can draft anything, but I'm just saying that if you draft things, don't draft things with words.
Yeah.
If you can, use the figure properly. Instead of say 20% pay cut across the board, for example, why don't you just spell out how much is this?
Mm.
You know why? Because it could have take-home pay.
Yeah.
Correct? It's actually the gross pay. I don't know. Right? And then there's also an issue about even if I reduce your salary, am I paying your SOCSO, EPF in full?
Yes.
Based on whatever you have. And when is it going to resume back to normal? Correct? Because there's a chance that it's never going to resume back to normal. I don't know. Right? So I'm saying to you is that try to avoid word that is not clear. Right? Try to spell everything very clean. Right? And like I said, we don't know when it's the end. And then you can draft an agreement to protect you. Of course, the word voluntarily is important. If I declare that I did this, not my work, at least it's helping you a bit to say that I didn't force on you. Correct? All right. And of course, if I can have a minute of a meeting where I notice everyone to talk about, I'm looking for people who voluntarily take a pay cut because the company situation, blah, 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 whatever that is. And there's a response to it, there's a mechanism. If these things are done properly, then I think at least it can be helpful. I won't say it's fully conclusion, I say it's helpful, right? But if it's on the case whereby, it's suddenly a notice, and suddenly when I get my paycheck, it's cut half. And everything is treated. So I'm saying to you, communication is important, and you need to get, I think it's very simple. I think your staff understand.
Yeah.
They all understand. It's not that they don't want to, but they also love to survive.
Yeah.
It's painful for everyone. So it's about your goodwill that you built in the past. Like I said, you can draft anything, but please make sure that it's clear. Don't be too general in it because you would end up having a problem. Trust me, it's not the last time you're gonna draft this thing. You're gonna continue drafting it. All right, because the truth of the matter is that circumstances keep changing.
Yeah.
Okay, Malaysia can open up. Malaysia is very likely to be one of the earlier countries to leave the MCO or the lockdown after China. Well, very likely because of the way it is run. I'm very happy with our civil servant in dealing with this, and I think we would be one of the earlier one. But about it, you could be the earlier one, correct? but then America just happening now, and then
Yeah.
Spain, Italy, whatever country that you have dealing with are still not working. So my question is that it can be so fast, so what? So I'm saying that it's not just because you don't want, you think they can be back to 100% productivity. The answer is no. Even logistic for that matter. I'm saying to you, courier company is allowed to roam around with their services at the moment. At the moment, yes, agreed. But do you know that shipment, for example, coming in from overseas, right? They are not allowed to leave the port. They only have selected days to do it. So far, I know there's only 6 days being approved. All right. So my question to you, if you can't get a supply, even if you can deliver, what are you delivering? I don't know. So I'm saying to you, it's a triggering effect. Everyone must know that, moving forward is called slowly but surely. But I'm saying to you is that you can dance on your own, all right? But you're not going to move a lot. It's not going to be very nice. Like, for example, there's selected industry that's being open at the moment, I understand, correct? So what? Even if the barber shop say, I want to take the risk and operate my barber shop right now, would you go? The answer is no.
Won't go lah. Yeah.
You understand? So the whole idea is that, don't think that just because you open, it gives you back to normal. The answer is no. And by the way, even if you are a selected sector that you can open, there's one of the very clear conditions inside to say that if some of them have got COVID-19, right, as a result of your operation, right, you need to bear all the costs.
All the costs, all the medical costs and all that. Yeah.
So if you ask me, you have to think twice whether you want to do it or not. All right. But I'm just saying to you is that that's only fair. What? If you ask me, it's very fair. If it's caused by you. But if you have to prove that, because sometimes it's very hard to prove that it's caused by you. Correct? This person could be in the house in contact with someone and they bring it to the workplace and whatnot, it's spread again. I can tell you the difference between the first 2 weeks and the second 2 weeks that I get the response from entrepreneur. I don't know whether you agree with me or not. Raymond, you also get in contact with them. The first 2 weeks is everyone talk about, I'm pay leave lah, whatever they need to do or whatever, that kind of thing. The second 2 weeks, what happened is that everyone is agreeing to say, enough or not? Should we extend more or not? You know why? The last thing you want is that you open back again, right? Then you need to close down again.
Yeah.
There cannot be even more worse than that. So I'm saying to you now, everyone is a little bit more rational and understand. We all know that it's unusual, right? Is it the fact that a lot of SME, a lot of macro entrepreneurs is going to go down and bankrupt? The answer is yes. Right? Is there going to be a lot more people going to be out of employment or whatever, or been suffering as a result of this? The answer is also yes. So, when you know the answer is yes to both count, right? You should know that this round is for you to survive. So when you do survive, you do whatever you need to do to survive. If you need to eat your clothes to keep yourself surviving, eat your clothes. No. What I mean is this, which means that if you need to talk to your employee, talk to them. You need to talk to your supplier, talk to them. You need to talk to banker, talk to them. If you need to talk to contractor, talk to them. You need to talk to landlord, talk to them.
Communication. All
correct.
starts with communication.
This starts with talking.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Now we move on to something on tenant side. Right, so the question is my tenant my tenant uses force majeure rental for January to March and refuse to pay for January, February, and March. Our payout is quarterly. Any advice here?
What do you mean by payout is quarterly?
I guess the loan. I'm not sure. Jessica, if you can elaborate on that question, and then we'll come back to you. Yeah. Okay. So another question here is, okay, if we have overseas staff, right, in our company,
right,
should I be following the Malaysian law with regards to employment and like holidays even, or should I be following the law that the person is in that I hired from?
The question is that you should look at your contract. Your contract should have a jurisdiction clause. I think most of your contract would have, right? So it depends on how you word it and how they're negotiating. And normally they are not on full employment. They are foreigner. Okay, so I'm saying to you is back to your contract for service. I think that's important. So look at that contract. They will give you a better guideline. Instead of just asking like that, just you think you have to really, and since you have all the time in the world, you should start reading.
Okay. Next question here is a buyer signed a booking letter to buy a commercial property few days before the MCO.
Mhm.
Booking conditional on buyer getting loan approval within 1 month.
Mhm.
Now 1 month has passed. The buyer wants to call off the deal.
Mhm.
Can buyer do so without paying compensation to the seller?
Very simple. Question is that can he get a loan or not? The bank is actually working, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think the condition then said was if he get a loan, he need to buy, right? If he can't get a loan, he can walk away, right? I think it's as simple as that. I don't want to go into the complicated wording of it, but I just thought that normally if you give people like that means if I get loan, I buy. If I cannot get loan, I don't buy. So my question to you is the bank working now? Yes, they are working. Okay, so if the bank is working means you can know whether you can get a loan or not. Correct? So if they cannot produce the fact that the bank is rejecting the loan and they say, I don't want to buy now, right? So you have a case to say that, no, you have to continue to buy because you didn't show me the effort that you actually apply for a bank loan.
Yeah.
Right? But then if, let's say, in this moment, they actually can get a certain confirmation from the bank to say that after processing, we don't think they are fit enough to get a loan to buy. And with that, can they walk away from the deal? Yes. The simple answer is yes.
Okay. Okay. Another question here is during this lockdown, once we get approved for the wage subsidy, can we lay, what about staff which is not confirmed? Can we lay them off immediately?
Think about it. The reason why you're on probation is so that you can assess their performance, right? And so that they see whether they're fit for the position. Okay, if your motivation is obviously to cut costs, right? Then if that is being able to show, for example, you have a staff that actually supposed to start work on 18th of March. 18th of March, which is first day of MCO. All right? All right? And now you give him a termination, which is today. So my question to you is that, is it justified or not justified? Why do you answer me, Raymond?
Justified.
Why is it justified?
Huh?
Why is it justified?
Because it's after it's the date, right? It's after MCO.
I'm saying to you, your letter of employment said you're on 3 months probation from March 18 onward.
Onwards. Okay. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Right. So you're still effectively on probation.
On probation.
Correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So, but you cannot perform the job, Raymond. I didn't have chance to see you performing. You have no chance to perform. I can ask you to do the thing and whatnot, and suddenly you said, no, I want to cut you out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you tell me whether you have a good case or not.
No lah. In that case, there's no case lah, because you're not allowing the person to perform, right?
That's right. So I'm saying to you is that at the end of the day, we have to look at the circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, to read the letter of employment, you can dismiss anyone who are on probation with 24-hour notice, depend how you word it in your letter of employment, right? But I'm saying to you is that yes, right? But if I really want to complain, do I have a good ground? I would say I would have, because I've never had a chance to do any work and you're just firing me for no reason. And obviously there's an obvious economic duress, right, that everyone is facing now. And obviously there is also, but also another thing, and whether this person want to take up a case or not, that's another issue. What can he get?
Yep.
Right? Probably 1 month pay, that's it. And you're not even a confirmed staff, what can you get? Correct? So I'm saying to you is, again, is a common sense issue. You think it's easy to go to the labor court to fight for 20% salary reduction? Right? I'm just saying lah. And later you still need your time, your cost, and your relationship with your existing employer. If you're still working for them, how do you then go about it? You're not working for them, perhaps easier. Correct? So I'm saying to you, there's a lot of common sense required here.
Yeah.
Short of saying that it is okay to do so. What I'm saying to you is that as far as I'm concerned, legally is legal. Legal, I'm telling you what's legal. Legal is quite boring one. It's either black and white.
Yeah. Okay, another question here from Justin. Chris is, my SME tenant, Sindra Berhad Company, and I have signed a tenancy agreement, obviously back then. They operate via subletting for short-term rentals. Currently, if I offer a 30% rent reduction during April to June, am I still entitled for tax deduction?
Okay, I'm not a tax expert for sure. According to our Prime Minister number 8, in his second stimulus package, he encouraged private sector landlord to do so, and you can do tax deduction. I've not seen the details, and nobody's seen the detail. After all, it's gonna be end of the year or when you're due for your tax submission anyway. Yep. It's not gonna be immediate, so there's plenty of time to find out. So to me, it's deal with the situation first, and then find out more. But I can tell you one thing is that at this moment, I can tell you a lot of things, a lot of announcement, a lot of decision is made during this time, right? I can tell you a few things. It's only applied for this very limited time, right? And a lot of things is not clear. Don't expect it to be clear, right? It cannot be clear. It cannot be any clearer than it is, right? What I'm trying to highlight is that, for example, for the first 14 days of so-called MCO, there's only 6 rules. 6 rules. Correct? They're supposed to regulate us as the entire MCO. Right? You think it's sufficient? The answer is no. But we have to behave and whatnot. The only problem with us is because we don't trust our government. I mean, it's not that we don't trust, it's the level of commitment towards it is very different. In China, you have no choice. They have 1, you cannot say 2 anyway. Malaysia, you say 1, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all Malaysia boleh. That's the way we behave. That's the way we behave. But I'm highlighting to you, we have no choice. We need to have a leader, whether they are good leader, whether they are your leader or not your leader, they are the leader at the moment. Right? So you have to understand that even them, sometimes they announce and then later they say cannot. Remember, original Baba can okay, then later Baba say no okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying to you, why? Because it's not that they didn't think through. It's just that, this is an unusual situation. You cannot say, hey, how come they're so pariah one? One day say like that, tomorrow say like that. For example, on the 16th of March, that's the day they announced that on the 18th they will have a lockdown. They're going to have the MCO. But they forgot to tell people to say, 17, please don't go back to the kampong. So what happened is that on the 17th, everyone go back to the kampong. And that's where probably that wave been spread. Okay? But I'm highlighting this is very simple. You have to use your common sense is to stay where you are. As you duduk diam-diam di rumah is work from home, not work from hometown. Okay, so I'm saying to you is that as much you want to care for your family, we love our family, everything else, we have to be rational as to why it is passed like that, right? Then later on the 18th, suddenly, our Prime Minister and the special address, I forgot to tell you, don't just go home. And you know why they have to tell you earlier as to whether extend or not? Because they don't want you to rush back.
Panic,
Panic on the same day. I tell you what, I don't want 27 or 28 of April where we have full of car in the North-South Highway. If that's the case, it defeats the purpose again. Yep. Thank you for not flattening the curve. Right? So I'm saying to you is that, at the end of the day, I think even after MCO, personally, right, if it's not extended, personally, I also think that there's a possibility for extension, but I'm saying to you that even if it's not extended, it's not going to be party as usual. No, it is not. All right, and it has to be coordinated, even as an employer. Since you have a lot of owners and a lot of bosses here, right? Employer, can I say something to you? SME entrepreneur, my fellow entrepreneur, don't think that just because they say they let you go, you tomorrow 100% go back to your normal thing. No. You have to schematically let them come back on time. Trust me, you don't want any of your staff to also, you can stay positive in everything you like, but you don't want yourself to be COVID-19 positive. That's the last thing you want to be positive there, right? But I'm highlighting to you is that even if one of your staff is doing it, it will affect your business. Your supplier don't dare to come there and see you. Your customer don't dare to come and touch you. Right? It will further impact you. So don't be silly and say that tomorrow I'm going to go on full force. Please don't do it.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, next question. So my company has started to implement working in rotation.
Yep.
We asked them to sign an agreement.
Sure.
So the agreement stating that they are working less than usual working hours for now, but they are required to work back the extra hours after MCO ends. If they don't, then their salary will be deducted accordingly. Is this legal? Is this legally okay?
Okay, let's put it this way. It sounds like you're not cutting their salary yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
It sounds like you're not. So you ask me legally, did you deduct the salary yet? No. Correct? All right. So my question to you is that, of course, they have to make up the hour. So you didn't say how long it can be make up after that, right? So can it take 5 years? Can it be 10 years? Can it be indefinitely? I don't know. Right? So if you ask me, it sounds legal. It sounds like something that you can do, right? But I'm saying to you is, again, at the end of the day, when you're going to make a determination. So one of the things is that you're delaying the problem. I understand. I agree. Right? That could be happening. I think that could be a good move. Right? You can put it on paper or whatever that is, but effectively, what it means also means that, exactly for that month, you didn't pay them salary in full. Could be lah.
Yeah.
It could be I advance pay you, but you owe me this hour.
Yeah. I think that's what the question is saying. Like, you owe me these hours, right? But if you don't choose to do it, then I will deduct your salary.
Correct. So I'm saying to you is that, it's sort of a roundabout way lah. Yes, I say you owe me this hour. My question to you is that whether those hours are important or not lah. So I think we have to change our mindset. I think if you talk about manufacturing, obviously production shift and everything, we understand those are easy to measure. But if you're a knowledge worker, how do you do that?
Yeah. Knowledge worker cannot.
Yeah. So I'm saying if you're a knowledge worker, it's very hard.
Yeah. So a question here is, I guess it's a question on everybody's mind. So what if we do everything and everything fails and the last resort is insolvency?
Yep.
Right? What then is the correct steps, or is the company directors and all that still have to compensate everything, even if with the staff and everything?
Okay, think about this. There's a few things there. Number one, if you talk about closing down at the end of the day. The other day, my friend we were just chatting with my client and whatnot. They were saying that, wow, so hard. There's a lot of businesses are closing down and whatnot. I always tell them, you think it's easy to close down? If it's so easy to close down, I also want to close down. And then I open again when everything go back to normal and go back. So suddenly I don't have to think about liability. I chit chat with you now already, Raymond. Right? But the whole idea is, no, it's not easy to close down. Right? First of all, if the company is a limited liability company, Sendirian Berhad, obviously you are not liable more than the share capital that you have agreed to pump in. That's number one. That's why it's good to always have a Sendirian Berhad. But if there's outstanding for EPF, SOXO, and everything else, those things are statutory duty. Outstanding, I'm not moving for, I say outstanding. Right? And if you don't pay, the director need to be answerable. So those things that you have to watch out. So even if you want to close down your company properly, you have to understand it's not so easy, right? A voluntary winding up is a very expensive process.
You still need money to wind up.
Correct. And if you need to do a forced winding up, and after all, then you have no choice, you will be blacklisted and everything else already. So I'm saying to you is that even if you want to die, it's not so easy to die. You must choose how to die. Right, and to me is that if you are talking about commit suicide in that sense, right, happily, right. So I'm saying to you is that there's a big cost to that also.
Yeah. Chris, do you know of any government leniency or anything with regards to bankruptcy now?
I don't think there's any leniency. First of all, bankruptcy is very simple. If you cannot pay your debt, if someone sue you, whatever that is, then you can do bankruptcy. But let's put it this way, Malaysia don't have a situation of voluntary bankruptcy yet. I mean, bankruptcy is personal, not company.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no way I can go in and say, hey, I want to declare myself bankrupt, so I want to protect myself. No such thing. Right? So Malaysia is still on the involuntary stuff. So other jurisdictions have those voluntary bankruptcy one. Okay, so actually, if you ask me, bankruptcy could be a protection. This time you need have time to breathe, right? But we don't have that provision at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know whether this question is related or not, Chris, but I'll just read out anyway.
Yeah, please.
So the question is, if your business runs out of cash, then what's the steps? Not closing down, but I just can't pay salary yet. Yeah, is it the same as what we were talking about?
No, I'm saying very simple. If your company is running out of cash and you're not closing down, right? And then I think you have to talk to your supplier. Right? It's just like you, right? When you have no more money in your pocket, you still need to have lunch, right? So you go to the mama store, talk to the mama, ask them to give you a 555 book, right? And start recording. So that's what I mean. I mean, if you can do that for your lunch, do that for your business. So I'm saying to you is that at the end of the day, there's no fixed rule as to what you need to do. And again, it's up to the store operator whether they want to give you free lunch and record it on the book. There's no compulsory for them to do it, which means your staff also no compulsory to work for you. Correct? They'll say that, oh, no salary, I'm not working tomorrow, you won't see me anymore, bye-bye. All right? But if they say, can you pay me next month? I understand the situation of the company and whatnot, then continue to do that as long as nobody complains. So I'm saying to you that at the end of the day, it is not about what kind of document you have. At that moment, it's about survival mode already. So if you are at the survival mode, my question is that if you cannot survive, what good it is, even if you find a lifeline.
Yeah. Okay. Question here is from Michael. If we did not apply for the wage subsidy, and because we have no choice but to downsize, and we are supposed to give 1 month notice, can we count that during? Can we count MCO as part of the notice period?
Okay, if you talk about notice, means it is the day where you tell. If you want to count MCO as the period, then I'm saying to you is that, are you saying that you're going to backdate? Right? So backdate is not encouraged, of course. But then if you give your notice on the 1st of March, yes, you count MCO. You know why? I'm saying to you is this. MCO effectively did not close down your business. Just make that very clear. He said you cannot operate from your business premises only.
Yeah.
You understand? Not? So I want to tell everyone, they didn't say your business cannot go on. It just say that you cannot operate in your normal business premises. Your business premises need to be closed. That's why, hence, there is this idea called work from home. Work from home means you're still working, but only from home. Right? So what it means that's why you are paying their salary. Effectively, they are still working. It's only from home. They're still working. It's only they are limited. Their movement are limited. Correct? You're my employer. You tell me what you want me to do. You tell me lah. You need to change my work scope. You let me know. But you cannot say, as a result of this, you're not working. I'm contracted to you from 9 to 5 every day, Monday to Friday. So if you give me the instruction, I should still need to pay. So this is the basis of whatever I'm sharing with you. Right? If you as an employer don't know what to do because of the MCO, whose problem? Whose problem? It is a problem with the employer. I put it very simple. Employer can say it's not my problem, it's the government problem. My question to you is that, yeah, it's everyone's problem too, right? So I'm saying to you, at the end of the day, you have to understand the whole concept. The 6th rule during the first MCO did not ask you to close your business. That's very important. They only ask you to close your business premises. And
only the office lah. Yeah.
Correct. Business premises could be a retail, could be a cafe, restaurant. You understand not? Correct? Could be a saloon, could be a whatever that you're doing retail. Correct? But I'm saying to you is that they didn't ask you to close your business. I think you have to very, very clear. Don't come and tell me to say that just because they cannot open the premises means that I'm out of my business. The answer is no. I still receive fees during this period. More than happy. You want my bank account? I'll give it to you now. No, I'm saying to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's also about pivoting your business, right? You got to look at opportunities of what you can still continue doing.
I'm
right?
saying to you now, let's say one of your debtor is saying to you, Raymond, I will pay your fees. You can say, oh, sorry, this MCO, we cannot accept your money. Come on, man. There's no such thing. So if you can accept money, right, which is part of your business, right, paying salary is also part of your business, what? So that's how the rationale play out, Yeah. If you ask me, they have to look at it in this context. To me, work from home doesn't mean no work. I think that's important. Yeah. Can I just switch on the light first?
Okay, so while you're switching on the light, Chris, we'll answer two more questions because we're almost 4 o'clock and I want to respect your time.
Right.
Okay, so the second last question is for this month, I have the intention, unfortunately, to cut pay salary into half. And I'll announce a 50% pay cut, or should I just ask them to take 2 weeks unpaid leave, which is essentially the same thing? Any difference or any pros and cons from a legal perspective?
It will depend on your letter of employment, see whether you have a provision for unpaid leave or not, right? If you say it's unpaid leave, most of the time, unpaid leave only happen after paid leave. I mean, I would say unpaid leave only happen after paid leave. So I'm saying to you is that you have to deduct the paid leave first and then only on an unpaid leave situation, I suppose. And unpaid leave will probably sound more like voluntary. A 50% pay cut means they're working, but they are not getting the pay. Unpaid leave means they're not working. It's not even what we say just now. It's not working from home anymore. It's not working. So you can't call them between 9 to 6, 9 to 5 every day. All right? You cannot give them anything to do. That's what you mean by unpaid leave. So I think everyone must get that clear. If you are still paying their salary, they're supposed to work for you. If you have nothing for them to do, it's your problem. Correct? And understand MCO have limited thing and what, but I'm just saying to you, if you have nothing to do, it's your problem. You should have think of other thing productive for them to do. Right? So I'm saying to you, they are effectively still contract to you.
Okay.
Yep.
So final question. Okay, so all my other staff are great team players and they are doing their best to work during this MCO from home. But there's one staff who is a problem maker. What are the proper steps to fire this staff legally?
The normal step,
Yeah.
letter of warning, show cause letter.
You still have to go through, right? Still have to go through the warning letters and things like that, right?
Nobody will exempt you to say that you can straight away unless they have done certain something very that warrant immediate fire one. For example, insubordination. For example, conflict of interest with the company. For example, something that's very drastic, right? Sharing of confidential information, for example, with a competitor, right? Or earning profit on behalf of the company without reporting to it. For example, things like that. Those you can immediately fire them. So I'm just saying to you, if you want troublemaker, at the end of the day, a troublemaker means troublemaker. I said, if you need to make the decision, make the decision. You just have to face the consequence. Trust me. If he's a troublemaker, he'll continue to be a troublemaker after you fire him. Fire him is not the end of your episode.
It's not the end of the road. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Correct. So I want to say that it will be the same as well.
Okay, let me just check, Chris, if there's any other final questions. Doesn't look like it. Okay, Chris, so I guess we have a couple of minutes left.
Sure.
So now all of entrepreneurs are going through, and I guess the reason why I wanted to do this session and they have all these questions is because I guess it's fear, right? So what do I have in legal rights? And as you rightfully put it earlier, everything is very uncertain, and the government only has a certain amount of days, even, right, to just come up with certain things, and not everything is clear because there's just not enough time to make things clear. Right. So is there anything you would, as your final words from a legal or non-legal perspective to let all these entrepreneurs know?
I think put it very simple to everyone. When things are gray, create evidence, right? Create evidence that support you, whatever you want. At the end of the day, whether it help or not, you at least have an in case, correct? And number two, I think is very important is that act rationally, communicate. There's no hard and fast rule right now. I can tell you, I mean, whatever that we always know and whatever that is, I'm also very sick and tired to tell you, this is what you need to do, what you should do, whatever that is. But by the way, this unusual situation. So this business is unusual, all right? And I tell you, justice is a luxury normally in this kind of time, right? You can feed yourself first, then only you want to think about whether I've been fairly treated or not, correct? If you're hungry, right? If you cannot even survive more than one day, what do you do? Correct? I can tell you best time to communicate with whoever your contractor. In fact, I have one strategy for SME and also businessmen at the moment, which I've just shared just now in another session, which I think is quite useful for everyone. Consider working with your enemy. Consider working with your competitor. It's never been the best time to work with your competitor.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Your competitor know you a lot. Your competitor is actually your greatest admirer. Okay, what you have, they don't have. What they have, you don't have. So you've asked me, this is the best time to consolidate the resources, right? And see how both of you can survive through. Right? So I'm saying to you that this is a very unusual strategy, but I will say this to you now. I will say that can we now ask all the competitors to work together, all right? Compare note. There's no more trade secret. You know, if I'm KFC, right? If I'm struggling at the moment, I should call up Mary Brown and say, hey, here's my secret recipe of my chicken for all this while. Can you share with me yours? You know, what happened is that jokingly, of course, metaphorically, I'm saying like that. I'm saying to you is that what it means is that there's no more secret moving forward. The only secret you need is that I hope to see you at the end of the tunnel. So hopefully we can see you at the end of the tunnel. Surviving is very good. In fact, I'm telling everyone to do this. Just now I asked me what is my last word to all my entrepreneur friends and whatnot. I said, forget about 2020. It doesn't exist. Okay? Right? You know why? Because there's no Olympic this year. There's no SEA Game this year. There's no Copa de America. There's no Euro. There's no supporting event. There's no nothing in 2020. Wawasan 2020 was a dream. So keep it as a dream. Right? Right? So wake up in 2021. Make sure you're still breathing, surviving, right? And take a fresh start and get used to the new normal in 2021. It's not going to return to the world as we know it before. So I'm saying to you is that even whatever we tell you, because law is one thing that need to be lagging behind. Why? Because we have this thing called the act that's been passed in the past, judicial precedent that have been passed in the past. Of course, it's before MCO. I can tell you there will be new cases decided after MCO that may be very interesting, whereby the judge might be considering MCO as a force majeure, let's say. If let's say I have a federal court to decide that MCO is a force majeure, can you imagine? Then everything becomes clearer. Correct? But at this moment, there is no such case and there's no such test case. And nobody can know and nobody can straight away go to federal court. Right? So it means that you still have to start your high court, your court of appeal, your federal court, which means a few years later only you can get a decision. Meanwhile, what do? You already filed for bankruptcy, while waiting for that date. So I'm saying to you is that law is law. To me, we can help it as a tool. Our skill right now is more useful for you in negotiation, and it's not really citing law as law. Okay, we know what it is. We will try not to go against it, right? We'll find our way to cover ourselves, even if we need to have some leeway, which is why you need your evidence. But I would say that it's still a luxury and it will only be clear later when there's a judicial pronouncement over this, which we don't even know when, right? So I said that, we need to use our rationale, right? Communication skill is very important, right? Even if you've done it wrongly, Raymond, I'll tell you very simple to you. Let's say you choose to give them 50% pay cut, you did wrongly already. Okay? And let's say you also did it wrongly in relation to asking them to take unpaid leave, right? So what's the worst thing that can happen to you? Raymond, what's the worst thing that can happen to you? No, I can tell you what consequence later when you make out enough money, pay them back
Oh, you mean later Yeah, of course.
I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, let's say they want to file a claim in the court and everything. They say I claim for this 50% cash deduction, correct? Which is 6 months down the road. And that time, the company already resumed back the thing and you value the employee, let's say. Without them filing the suit, you also pay them. You understand? So what's the worst thing? Pay them. It's money only. What? That's why I'm saying to you at the end of the day, like I said, if it's a matter of money, then you can settle. This is not where you kill someone, you rob someone, you create a criminal work. Yes, there might be some interest element. Let's say SOCSO want to penalize you, I give you a penalty. Yes, we understand. You'll be lucky if the penalty is in money.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm saying to you is that, while we understand all these things, it's hard to get through right now. But I'm saying to you is that what's the worst thing that can happen to you? Really, even if you do it. If you ignore whatever Chris just told you just now, you just go and cut your salary, suspend everyone, don't do anything, whatever that is lah. Okay, come out there, all the suit come flying left, right, and center. Worst thing is pay them off, because the demand is money one. So the demand is money. So I want to let people know that it's not really the end of the world.
Yep.
Okay, but it's the end of the world as we know it, but it's not end of the world. Correct? So we need to learn what's the new thing, but I'm highlighting to you from the bottom of my heart to all your members, I'm saying to you, even whatever your answer just now, you got the answer that you love or you prefer, which means don't need to pay that. All right? They cannot do anything. Fine, you just follow that stand. All right? So later, a few months later, you probably have a lawsuit. There's a consequence you need to deal with, for example. So what do? You go for a settlement. So you probably have to pay some legal fees. You need to pay some interest. I think it's worthwhile. Right?
Yeah.
That you only will deal with it a few months later.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
This way, I think that's
useful. I thought that had very good insights. Thanks so much, Chris, for your time, for your 1 hour. One of the things I always love to talk to Chris is because he's very honest. He's very candid. So thank you so much for your honesty and your whatever that you shared with us, Chris. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
everyone, stay safe. Yes.
Yeah. Stay safe. You too, Chris.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.